If you're here for vampire stories where closeness is chosen, not claimed, where nothing is taken and everything is felt, like the video, subscribe, and stay. This isn't a story about being trapped. It's about being met and allowed to leave unchanged. The cafe is almost empty when I notice him. Not because he enters loudly, he doesn't, but because the air across from me feels suddenly held, like the space has been acknowledged. I look up from my cup. He's already seated. Not too close. Not angled toward me. Just across the small table, hands folded loosely, posture calm. Pale skin, white hair catching the low amber light like it belongs there. He looks young, but his stillness is old. Practiced. You don't mind if I sit, he says. It's not a question, but it's not a command either. I glance at the other tables. Empty. The barista half asleep behind the counter. The clock reads 2:14 a.m. I don't mind, I say. He nods once. Settles. For a moment we simply exist across from each other. No tensión. No hunger in the obvious way. Just awareness. You come here late, he says. So do you, I reply. Yes, he agrees. But not for the same reason. I arch a brow. And what reason is that? You're avoiding going home, he says gently. I'm avoiding going back. That's enough to make me study him more closely. You speak like you know me, I say. I speak like I'm paying attention, he corrects. I should bristle. Instead I feel seen. In a way that doesn't press or demand. What are you avoiding? I ask. He considers. A place that expects things from me. I snort quietly. Join the club. Something like amusement flickers in his eyes. Brief. Gone. The barista calls out last orders. I glance toward the counter. You don't have a drink, I notice. I don't need one. Ever. No. That's when it clicks. You're a vampire, I say. The word doesn't echo. Doesn't shock the room. Simply exists between us. Yes, he says. No drama. No flare of fangs. No warning. Oh, I reply. That seems to surprise him more than fear would have. You're calm, he observes. I'm tired, I say. And you're not threatening me. Would you leave if I were? He asks. Yes. He nods. Then I won't be. The simplicity of it makes my chest tighten. Do you always sit with strangers until sunrise? I ask. No, he says. Only when they don't ask me to move. I glance at the empty chair across from him. You could have chosen anyone. Yes. Why me? He looks at my hands. The faint tremor I hadn't noticed myself. Because you're holding your cup like it's anchoring you, he says. And because you didn't check your phone once after I sat down. I swallow. That's observant. I'm good at stillness, he replies. It gives me time to notice. Silence stretches, but it's comfortable. Companionable. Like neither of us is racing the other. The clock ticks past 3. Do you feed? I ask. Yes. Tonight. No. And that's fine. I press. Yes, he says. Hunger doesn't excuse interruption. I like that. More than I should. You're very careful, I say. I have to be, he replies. Carelessness costs too much. For you. I ask. For others. The barista flips the sign to close but doesn't ask us to leave. Maybe it's the way we're sitting. Like we belong to the quiet. You're not trying to charm me, I note. No. Why not? Because charm removes choice, he says. I prefer when people stay because they want to. I consider that. Then why stay? I ask him. He meets my gaze fully now. Not intense. Not possessive. Just open. Because you haven't left, he says. That feels mutual. We talk. Not about big things. About cities at night. About places that feel safer after midnight. About how silence can be louder than crowds. He never reaches for me. Never leans too close. Never lowers his voice to pull me in. And yet I feel closer to him with every passing minute. You don't look at me like I'm food, I say at one point. No, he agrees. How do you look at me? He pauses. Chooses his words carefully. Like someone who's allowed me to rest. My throat tightens. That's a lot to put on a stranger. Yes, he says. Which is why I won't ask you to carry it. Outside, the sky begins to soften, the black thinning into blue. You'll leave before the sun, I say. Yes. Why? Because if you wake and I'm still here, he says quietly, you might feel like you owe me something. I stare at him. And I don't, I say. No, he agrees. You don't. The clock reads 5:47 a.m. I yawn despite myself. You're tired, he says. I didn't plan to stay this long. Neither did I. I rest my head against the back of the chair, eyes heavy. Will you still be here when I wake? I ask. No. He answers immediately. Why not? Because this moment is complete, he says. And I won't dilute it by staying longer than I was invited. I let that sink in. Will I see you again? I ask softer now. Only if we meet by accident, he replies. Or by choice. That's evasive. That's respectful. My eyes close before I can respond. The last thing I feel is the quiet weight of being watched, not claimed, not guarded, just acknowledged. When I wake, the chair across from me is empty. The sun is up. The cafe smells like morning instead of night. On the table, where his hands had been folded, is nothing. No note. No mark. No paramis. Just the memory of being sat with until sunrise. And left untouched. I don't fall asleep right away. Even when my eyes close, I stay aware of him across the table. Not watching in the way predators do, but present, steady like a constant that doesn't demand attention. You're still awake, he says softly. I am. I reply without opening my eyes. You don't have to be. I know. Silence stretches again. The comfortable kind. The kind that doesn't rush you toward conclusions. You're very quiet for someone dangerous, I murmur. He doesn't bristle. Doesn't deny it. Danger doesn't require noise, he says. Only intention. I open my eyes and look at him fully now. The way the early light is beginning to touch the edges of his white hair. The way his hands are folded loosely, palms open, like he's deliberately keeping them harmless. You could have chosen any table, I say. Yes. Any night. Yes. But you chose this one. Yes. I exhale. You're not going to explain that, are you? No, he replies. Not unless you ask for something in return. And would you want something? He shakes his head. No. That answer feels heavier than if he had. A woman walks past the cafe window outside. Fast steps, phone pressed to her ear. His gaze flicks briefly to the street, alert, then returns to me. You're always watching, I say. Yes. For threats. For imbalance, he corrects. Moments when something tips too far. And tonight? I ask. Tonight is balanced, he says. That's why I'm staying still. The clock ticks past 6. You haven't moved in hours, I note. I don't need to. That's not human. No. I smile faintly. You're very good at reminding me what you are without frightening me. That's intentional, he says. Fear closes doors I prefer to leave open. The barista begins setting out fresh pastries. Morning customers trickle in slowly, barely sparing us a glance. To them, we're just two people who stayed too long. They don't see what isn't happening. You're blending in, I say. I'm allowing the world to continue, he replies. You could disappear. Yes. But you don't. Because you're still here, he says again. That phrase lands differently now. Less coincidence. More acknowledgement. You know, I say. Most stories about vampires aren't like this. No, he agrees. They take. Yes. They trap. Yes. They decide. Yes. And you don't. No. Why? He studies me for a long moment before answering. Because eternity teaches you that moments matter more than control, he says. And because people remember how you leave more than how you arrive. That settles deep in my chest. I yawn again, this time unable to stop it. You're really tired, he observes. I didn't sleep much before coming here. Then rest, he says. And if I do? I'll remain, he replies. At a distance that doesn't bind you to me. You won't leave. I will, he corrects. Just not yet. I let my head tilt slightly, cheek resting against the back of the chair. Not fully asleep. Just softer. Will you watch me? I ask quietly. Yes. Why does that feel less invasive than it sounds? Because I'm not collecting anything, he answers. I'm only witnessing. The cafe hums gently around us. Cups clink. The day stretches awake. My thoughts drift. I think about how rare it is to be near someone who wants nothing from you. No story. No premise. No proof. Just presence. When my eyes close again, it's deeper this time. I dream, not of fangs or darkness, but of standing still while the world rushes past untouched. When I stir, the light has changed. The cafe is louder now. Morning in full swing. And the chair across from me. Empty. My heart stutters before I can stop it. I sit up quickly, scanning the room. Nothing. No sign of him. No trace of cold air or shadow. Just the quiet absence of someone who knew exactly when to go. The barista glances over. Your friend leave. I hesitate. Yes, I say. She nods. He paid for your coffee. Didn't want a receipt. I look down at the table. Nothing left behind. No note. No mark. No premise. Just a faint sense of having been accompanied through the night. I step outside. The sun is fully up now. The street ordinary again. Safe. But something in me has shifted, not claimed, not changed, just steadied. Because some closeness doesn't demand continuation. Some connections are complete the moment they end. And some vampires sit with you until sunrise, then leave before you wake.